This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so not really that interesting of a meeting that's going to be going on. So I've been looking for something new, and I don't know why OTLK is on there, but looking for something new. Remember, this morning is Thursday. We didn't really have too many things that were on our list. It was pretty slow. Now Tesla, just an unbelievable move, and from that amount of buying, we're just basically continuing back down on this pull down. But overall, we have a ton of buying that's showing that this thing is going to break up above that 200 level from what we've seen, and it's not going to just be over 200. We're going to be expecting this thing to pretty much come up. I said 225. 225 is definitely way too high. I mean, you're talking about overall almost what, $32 from where we're sitting at now, $31 now, 194. But overall, like I said, I mean, it's got the great buying. It's just the volume is garbage, just like everything else. It's funny because these afternoon meetings used to be like the new things that popped up for the afternoon for us to be watching. We actually got lucky yesterday with low, but most of it's just pretty much me telling you that we're going to be focusing on the everyday stocks and looking for some type of volume. Our afternoons have just been absolutely horrendous. So I know a lot of you guys are still looking at Roku. Roku's just not doing anything, just like everything else. The volume that we have going on out there, 12,000 shares a minute. For this thing to be able to break up above this, basically at this point would be pretty much a triple top coming up here. It's just going to be so hard unless we get some type of volume push. So most of what we're going to be looking for is some type of change in personality, some type of volume spike to come pretty much out of nowhere. Everything else I'm looking at is just kind of just floating around, trading pretty consolidated. Just took a look at the gainers and losers. We'll do it again, but there was just nothing on here. NETS, 3.4 million, absolutely not. Nothing going on there. DWT's an ETF. DRIP 4.8 is also gas, so not going to be looking at that. LB was pretty deep. It was a real nice trade coming into this morning. I am going to put this one on our list just because we don't really have much to look at. It was a nice call out. And the reason being, it's just a very smooth trading stock that pretty much followed the rules when it needed to. Now, the prints themselves, you can see right here, 24, we had some nice sell prints that came back in that it looks like we're kind of pushing up from. So right here, if we do break past that 24 on any type of volume, there really is a lot of room back towards that downside. So I love the setup. I just don't love the fact that it's not really trading anything whatsoever. So we will be looking at LB, but once again, it's a little bit of a reach. And then everything else you can see is just, I mean, it's just garbage. There's no real volume that's being traded on any type of new stocks that have popped up out there. And it's the same thing on the loser side. NBR, 15 million, but it's quant stock. Everything else just ETFs and pretty much garbage with no actual volume. Can I get BIDU, another odd BABA print, 221,000. Yes, so definitely something's coming up in BABA. We were seeing these big prints leak out, but really at this moment there's just no trading going on, so we don't really know anything about what it really is. We need some type of big prints to come in there to give us an idea of what it's actually going to be. Now BIDU, I'll tell you right now. So we're getting to the point where we're really it's continuing to break down. They're taking shares. You got to understand something, guys. With a stock like BIDU, let's just look at the orders right here, and let's also look at the total volume. Forget average volume right now. Let's talk about total volume, which I know we rarely ever do. How easy is it for them to get shares? So if I gave you, let's say, $100,000 right now, and I said get $100,000 worth of BIDU right now, how long would it take you? How long would it take us to do that? Probably super easy, or would it be very, very hard because there's no trading? When you have no actual volume that's being traded and the orders are this thin, it just takes a long time for us to get back up. And you got to remember the amount of buying we saw at 20, that's a huge amount. So we have to assume that we're going to get, 125 is our conservative price target once we start going back towards that upside. But we got to assume that's pretty conservative that we're going to be going higher up above there. So they're going to be loading up. And, as of right this second, it's taking a long time. It's really that simple. Now, we just got some selling at 113.74. You can see this little burst over there, which tells us that we're not really done yet. And also 113.50, I don't know if you guys saw before, also had I think it was one bid print. Let me look real quick. Yes, one bid print that came in at that 113.50 as well. So we still have a little bit of selling, but it's definitely starting to dry up. And then if we remember before, right above that 114 level, had some really nice ask prints. I know I posted them up there in the chat. So definitely you're just waiting for this thing to finish up. And then we're going to be looking to go back towards that upside where that guy at 120 is going to make their move. But you got to remember, it takes a long time to build a position on a stock that's just not trading. There's very low volume and a very thin order. So there's still room towards that downside based off of the selling that we saw in there. And then once we start to see it pretty much die, really what we're looking for essentially is, like, for instance, let's go to, like, let's say 112.50. So we'd go down to 112.50, break underneath it without any real selling, and then start coming back up, something like that. Would it make sense to take it under 110? It could. 110, remember, 110's a big psychological number. Now we're getting closer to, to the 100s. So 110, I don't expect that, to be completely honest, but it could. And as of right now, with selling below, if we have selling below, guys, what makes more sense? For it to satisfy a big move up above 120, or the selling that comes in to be satisfied first? Which one makes more sense? Up above 120 or underneath? Of course, selling first, because remember, the dominant market maker is that guy at 120. Those are the biggest and the most prints we've seen in the stock since it's been coming back down. So it's doing exactly what it says it's going to do. We need to wait until we don't see that selling coming in anymore. Doesn't have to satisfy it before we can end up seeing it come back up. Or there's also another situation, which I'm not a very big fan of at all, taking it, but sometimes you'll get, like, the trigger to the upside movement will be like something like huge, like let's say 25 bid prints come in at 112.50. Sometimes you'll see that happen where that comes in and then boom, it ends up skyrocketing it back up. I'm not a big fan of that, because now we're looking for a big move off of selling. So it's not my favorite setup at all, but you will see that every once in a while. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of taking that trade, but so really, we're certainly coming towards the end, because, guys, yesterday's prints compared to today's prints at the levels, are we seeing more or less? When we're coming down on these levels and the stock is coming down, are we seeing more or less prints at the actual levels themselves? Seeing a lot less, right? So the less and less that we're starting to see coming in, the less and less that it needs to go. So we're definitely getting close, okay? But just remember, it takes some time when stock isn't trading that much. There was another question I think I lost. Okay, so what happens if Roku floats up to 90 like with shit for volume? Oh, then we watch it float up to 90. Pretty much. If Roku just keeps going up, there's not really anything that we could do. How do those odd prints in BABA change the story? Does not change the story whatsoever. All they are, guys, remember, those big prints are levels. That's it. If you can trade that many in a block, you can control the color that it comes out in. Okay, so just because it comes out in green and it says at the ask does not mean the actual print is buying. And same thing with the bid, same thing with below the bid, and same thing with the above the ask. That's never going to change. The story doesn't change at all, except for the fact that we know there's huge money in it. And if there's huge money in it, what does that mean? What does that mean for the move that it's going to make? Big move. That's the only way it changes the story, is that a big move's coming. Is the market maker in Baidu only making money in Baidu, or are they also trading other stocks? Probably other stocks, I'd have to assume. Probably not just one stock. And you know what? Never mind. I can almost guarantee you it's not just one stock, because imagine your day. So you're a great trader. You work for Goldman Sachs, and they're going to make you watch this only for that's it for the entire day. I mean, yeah, you would just never do that. Yeah, so I can almost guarantee you more, other stocks. I know more, almost all market makers are trading different stocks. Okay, but in this case, just based off that variable, I can, comfortably say to a 99.9% that they're looking at other things as well. You just wouldn't waste talent of a market maker just, to sit there and do nothing. All right, guys, so that pretty much looks like it. Just a slow afternoon so far. But you know what? Things come out of nowhere, so let's just keep vigilant, and we'll take it from what we see. All right, guys, talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.